How long you been fishing, Jarrett?
Well, Devin, my whole life.
Ah,
How are they snapping, boys?
Like always.
they're not.
Could be the bait.
I'll take a beer.
I'll have a brat.
Can you believe it? Fish just ain't biting today.
Oh, boys.
Who's that?
Don't look.
Best day ever.
I love fishing. Oh, yeah. I love fishing. Yeah.
chin, or drink with two wife. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Drink it for peace, or drink it to fight. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Go to bed at 8, or party all night. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Athens Light, Athens Light. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Enjoy Athens Light at Pizza on the Farm every Friday and Saturday. Stony Acres Brewing, Athens, Wisconsin. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light.
Boom, boom, boom. Hey, now we're there. All right, welcome to a special session of the Midwest Music Hour here today, live from the living room with Tay, who just killed it at Art Start last night, part of the Roots concert series. Excited to have her here in the living room today before she hits up Schofield and Sconi's with The Neighborly tonight. They're going live at 8:30. Full band show minus one member?
Yeah,
Did I hear
Daniel
that?
can't be with us today. Unfortunately, he's on another tour.
Oh, man, that's brutal. But you guys are still going to kill it anyway. It's going to be awesome. Thanks so much for joining me in the living room. You feel like getting into a song, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit?
Yeah, sure thing.
Oh, sweet. Okay. It'll give me a chance to adjust some of these levels.
You let me know when to rip.
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick it off then with a tune called Let It Rain. Clouds are slowly turning. They're making way for the sun to shine on me. Just when I got used to the gray, I feel a new age coming. Just when I got used to the same old same. Oh, let it rain on me. If I'm being honest, you should know I've been feeling kind of lost. Oh, ain't that food for thought? 'Cause it's funny how I stand still. I carry on with my same old days until I get to feeling this way. I promise I won't call this another rainy day. I'm calling for some kind of falling in place. It's all about falling for. What that means. 'Cause the best part about today is that it rains. Oh, is that it rains. Oh, is that it rains. I'm moving on from this one until I find myself under the thumb of the next to come. I'll keep going around again until I find a new dance to move ahead. Oh, but I'll start with this. I promise I won't call this another rainy day. I'm calling for some kind of falling in place. It's all about falling for what that means. The best part about today is that it rains. Oh, 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 is that it rains.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful music. You write songs that are deeply personal, and you know, and is it accurate to say that the majority of your performances you're able to feature your own music?
Yeah, I feel like I've finally migrated to an all original show. I started off with doing the whole cover gig life, and then eventually I got to kick one cover out at a time and write songs, and now I've been in a place for a couple of years now where it can be all of the songs that I write. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now playing Art Start last night, you know, kind of it's a unique little gem for us here in the Northwoods because it's geared up to be a listening room.
Yeah.
You know, different from your noisy bar room and whatnot. And of course, some people sometimes, you know, you run into a conversation here and there, like it swells a little bit, but you know, people kind of keep themselves in check a little bit as well. But is that a unique performance space compared to like the other venues that maybe you're used to playing, or do you find that you just run the gamut?
I feel like I've gotten to a point where it's about half the time it's nice, quiet shows, like listening rooms like that. I feel like it's taken me a while to find those correct spaces that I belong in. And I do feel like I belong in a place like Art Start where everybody makes me feel welcome. That's a huge part of it. I also do my fair share of shows that, you know, people are there to celebrate and hang out. That's mostly like the band shows. It's still like a very attentive crowd, but like people will get up and dance sometimes, and sometimes it's just a sitting and drinking crowd, you know. It's kind of all over the place, and I think that it kind of maintains a nice balance. And I feel like I walked into the room last night and I was like, I have not been to Rylander in a few years, and like I certainly have not played Art Start before last night, and I had no idea what to expect, and I had only seen pictures and stuff online, and everybody that I talked to on email and whatnot and over the phone was completely kind, and I walked up to the mic and everybody was just dead silent, and I'm like, all right, it's this kind of night, you know, gear shift in my head, and I immediately became excited. It's always a challenge for me to storytell because each song has like a whole thought process and healing process and, you know, an entire long process outside of the songwriting to make the actual song. And so it's nice to test myself on if I'm willing to be vulnerable and share with the crowd. And last night it was nice that people were rooting me on and in their silence, and also literally rooting me on.
Do you find yourself, you go back into those headspaces of where you were at when you wrote the songs, when you
Yeah.
perform them? I know that sometimes you can fall into the, gosh, we've got 30 gigs this month, and it just sort of becomes business as usual, or almost a routine.
Yeah.
The difference between like the solo performance and maybe the full band, is that different when you're singing those songs, given those circumstances, or it's still the goal to sing with intention and
Yeah.
find that root of the place where you wrote the song from.
Yeah, I love that question. I feel like I usually take myself there every time, either to the headspace that I was in when I wrote the song, or kind of a self-reflective moment of like, how can I apply this song that I wrote to my current situation, and given a new variety of surroundings or whatever it may be, I feel like I usually am reliving or reanalyzing myself, or thinking about people that I know that are can relate to it, and I know that they can. I feel like it's very rarely, unless in a good way, that I kind of disassociate from the music. If I'm disassociating from the music, I'm in it. Like I am the music. I'm coasting alongside of it, but I feel like it's pretty rare that I'm like, oh, I just wasn't feeling it. Like even on a bad night, like on a night where things gone unexpectedly, or like a cable wasn't working, or like different obstacles come about and you can get flustered. I feel like even then I will find nooks in the set to ground myself back down and not disassociate from the music. The music and the doing is not a separate thing for me, and so I like to keep them together. So
Right on, yeah, because it's that healing process when you're going through things. You work through it with the songwriting process, and of course going back into that headspace. Sometimes it's like, how old is that scab that we're pulling off, like night after night?
yeah,
Sometimes they're dark places,
exactly.
painful places.
There's some nights where I feel maybe too emotionally vulnerable to play some songs, because I'm like, we ain't going there tonight, honey. Like, I don't want to touch that side today.
Yeah.
But most of the time, I feel like I'm pretty level-headed about it, and it's more so like in honoring or embracing my life and everybody else's life. It's like, it just is what it is, and I feel like most of the time I can look at it like that, but still coexist with all the feeling that comes along with it in a very rational way, an accepting way. But some nights I'm like, I might bust a tear if I talk about this tonight.
For sure. When you talk about performing those songs, well, here today you have your acoustic guitar.
Yes.
Last night, for maybe the majority of your concert, you were playing your electric guitar.
Yeah.
You also play piano.
Yeah.
So if you approach like the full band, maybe you're mainly on electric guitar.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitar gets a
I'm
little...
really only on the electric nowadays. I used to solely play the acoustic even with the band. And then it got to the point where it's like, it just sounds better and there's more fun things to do with the electric, and everybody can be on their own wavelength and not make it all muddy. So
Was that a difficult transition? I know, like the action, sometimes the way you play, like an acoustic guitar can be more rigid. An electric guitar might, like the strings bend a little bit easier or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't have a wound G string or something. And
yeah.
was that still a process that you're working through, or you feel that it was a pretty easy switching back and forth? You got a great guitar that you're playing on. That's a Guild?
Yeah, it's
Electric.
a Guild Bluesbird.
Yeah. So it's got to be like kind of a little bit beefier in terms of its action and...
Yeah, and it's pretty light. I like that it's a lot lighter than the acoustic. I played this, for many years, and it wasn't even until, maybe 2 years ago that I had transferred over to electric. And at first, it was a learning curve for me because I'd realized that I do like a lot of hammer-ons and stuff in my way of playing with the acoustic, and I'm pretty rough with it, even though it might not sound like it. And now I've been focusing on finger-picky stuff, coming back to the acoustic, but since I've kind of gained a different kind of control with electric playing, yeah, it was definitely a challenge at first, but I feel like I kind of got used to it within a few months. And then it wasn't too long ago that I started using some pedals. Andy, who's actually here today, he is in the band, and he has introduced me to the fun electric pedal world. And yeah, I think that I actually quite prefer the electric now. I feel like for longevity, it doesn't hurt my back as much. And it doesn't, cramp up my hands so much. I like to bring this out every now and then, though. I've been starting to do that more.
Very cool.
As far as piano, I feel like I go in seasons of playing it. I have so many songs that I've written down there, but I still need to get a case for my piano, and so it makes it a little bit inconvenient to bring it out to shows. And I don't know. I love playing it. There's an entirely different scope of emotion that you can bring on with that. But I feel like I'm more versed in playing the guitar probably nowadays.
Yeah, there's right, the sustain, for one, right, on a piano,
Yeah.
it like puts you in a different headspace, and phrasing even, and if, electric keyboard or whatever taken out is obviously different from like playing with an upright or a grand or something, because sometimes maybe it's more vocally challenging to like soar above the sound of the instrument.
Yeah.
You're playing an acoustic piano, it's just huge and booming and whatnot. But
Yeah.
when you picked up the electric guitar, was it like that Judas moment with Bob Dylan, where your hardcore fans were like, "What are you doing with the electric guitar? Put that away!"
I feel like I've gotten that. Oddly, like when I started transitioning to the electric, people were like, "Oh, this is great. Why haven't you been doing this?" But now I've gotten to the point where I've played it for a couple of years now. And people are like, "We miss the acoustic, though. You should bring it back every now and then." And so it's fun for me. It keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
But people haven't really, been, mad about it.
Okay. That's good.
So much. Yeah.
Cool. Nobody's throwing tomatoes or nothing.
Yeah. Not yet, at least.
You're not the real Tay. Bring back the real Tay. Sweet. How exhilarating is it? The dichotomy, like, so last night your solo show, tonight's the full band show. You mentioned that you've got a lot of band gigs this summer. You're releasing, a song a month till you get your album put together, which is really an exciting way to go about it. I think that in today's market, singles are, that's how people are consuming their music.
Yeah.
We're getting further and further away from like printing stuff to a CD, because cars don't have CD players in them anymore.
They might come back at some point.
Hopefully,
I don't know.
right?
I still collect CDs.
Yeah. But, you've been a solo artist for a long time, and there's that excitement when you get to, your band just kicks butt. Like,
Thank
you've got amazing musicians that you've surrounded yourself with, and that's always really exciting to see, because everything's just, up another 10 notches, if you will,
They are truly incredible group of guys. So, and players,
There's a little bit of a backstory on how you all got hooked up together. Was it through like a studio session, maybe an album that you made where you needed some players, and then it just all came together and you're like, "Yes, just be my band." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Of course we will."
So, I think so it was really only Calvin, I believe, that played on like the debut solo record that I put out, and I didn't know really anybody at this point. I've been watching Calvin for years and loved his stuff. He played in friends' bands and whatnot. And he's just always been like so humble and just so smooth and versatile. And so I really only knew him in a way from that record. But for the release, I had gotten this group of guys together. I think everybody in the band besides Daniel was on at that point. And, you know, it was supposed to kind of originally be the record release shows, and it was kind of an unspoken of thing where I just kept booking stuff. And I'm like, oh, we got more release shows. It's like 2 years later.
Put them to work.
Yeah, and along the way, we had added Daniel through Andy, and that was one of Andy's friends, and he brought Daniel in, and so we were looking for someone that, like, a very particular energy of human. Daniel's got, like, kind of this, you know, sassiness and, like, confidence. Like, he's not a jerk. I feel like there's a fine line between, like, jerky players who know that they're incredible and, you know, goofy people to share the stage with that can also bring this confidence vibe to the entire room and light it up. So he was a really good addition. I think he came in about, when was that? I think that might have been almost 2 years ago now. Yeah, about 2 years ago now. And David, I had watched him play with Feed the Dog back in the day, and just was mind blown. And he's always been such a nice guy, just, you know, consistent fella. Yeah. And Andy was actually the person, it's so funny because he has become like a main source of the ship sailing nowadays. I actually had never seen Andy play, and I think that he was there for the very first song that I had released, Maggie Sue, and I think that, like, there wasn't a drum set or something, and we were just kind of like, well, could you just make, like, a percussive beat on something and just add it to the song? And so he was sitting there like,
I got a pair of chopsticks.
Do something. I didn't end up making it into the song, but I think that was my first interaction with Andy. And yeah, it's all been rocking and rolling. Now I feel like we just, as more shows have come about, we seem more like a family and understand each other's quirks and dynamics, and, you know, we're becoming better communicators in different situations, and it's good, you know. Everybody's responsible, and I feel like music life and party world are separate for me, and a lot of people in this industry, they're together. I feel like this group of people have either been through the music party world scene, connected, or, you know, aren't interested in that in general. And so it's nice to, like, go to a show and everybody's not just wasted, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just trustworthy, so.
That's awesome. Has it been, well, you're 25.
About to be 25.
You're not even 25.
June 1st is my birthday.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
You're still a young'un.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a child. I was just birthed.
I mean, you've received a lot of support in your journey thus far. Have you also felt as though there have been struggles or times of difficulty that you've had to overcome in some ways, or has it mostly kind of been sunshine and rainbows for you and your amazing talent, you know?
There has definitely been many obstacles. I hate to pull the woman card, but as a woman, as a person that's trying to, as a woman that's trying to do it by herself, you know, before the band, and still as the band goes on, and just in a whole lot of different ways, there's been, you know, every time you make a little inch forward, there's going to be a new obstacle, and you have to, you know, work on being less reactive towards that obstacle and just, all right, thank you, keep going. And I feel like I'm constantly being tested, but, you know, it's life. Whatever way you're going to choose, it's going to be that. So I choose this. Yeah.
Bust into another song?
Yeah, sure.
Sweet.
I love it. I love it.
And I do want to be mindful of your time because you guys got a load in at Sconni is here this afternoon and get your stuff together. So
what time are we at?
We're a little after 104 or something. It's I don't know.
I think it's like
start without you.
Half hour to get there or something.
Yeah. An hour.
Okay.
50 minutes. How fast do you drive?
Andy, how fast do you drive? All right, this one is called We Can Be, and this is going to be the band's first release, and we're going to be releasing it on May 1st, which I'm super excited about.
On all streaming platforms.
All the streaming platforms. Yeah, this one is just kind of about, I don't know. We all know how this world is very, like, everybody, it seems like, is very for themselves, and I don't know if that's with how the media is, or, you know, there's so many things that it could be. And this song kind of came to me and just like, isn't it strange how you walk down a grocery aisle and someone doesn't even make eye contact with you, or, you know, you're walking on the street and everybody, like, seems like, you know, I gotta avoid eye contact and not wave or something like that. I feel like growing up, people, like, if they made more food than they anticipated, they would share it with their neighbors, and this is just kind of about, like, where did that aspect of things go, and, you know, where did we forget that we all coexist in a world together and that we should all maybe act accordingly. So yeah, We Can Be. A man once asked, does anyone in this time even try to make things brighter? As the years have passed, so have the ways we've tried to lift our neighbors. Where did the love go? Where did the talk end? We need some help to make this better again. Is there a day where we all will speak? I know that with a care we can be. What could have been a longer than life friend is instead another chance burned. What a waste to choose all entitlement rather than just a lending a hand. did the light go? Where did the help end? We need some change to make this better again. Is there a moment when we'll see that if we love, we can be? Oh, we can be. There's room here for plenty. I am on my knees asking, will we all be there? Will we be better? Oh, it's better to start now than never. Can we right now so the rest can see that if we love, that if I love, that if you love, we can be.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, where did that sense of community go? Are we afraid of conflict more often than not, so we choose not to engage, you know, in any type of behavior that might cause that, including eye contact with a passerby in a grocery store?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, another part of that song, another layer to that is like, how much do we miss out on? How much does everybody miss out on because we choose not to interact with each other or like even acknowledge each other? Like we could be developing, you know, lifelong connections. We could really like, you know, make our community strong and lift each other up. But it's such a mess sometimes, most times actually. And how much of that could have been if we just put a little, you know, openness into our minds.
Yeah, and right, and there's like mountains and molehills, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know, people talk about careers, and you mentioned it last night during your performance, I believe. Maybe, you know, maybe I'm just making that up or something, but, you know, being comfortable with where you're at in your career, doing the things that you're doing. Other people have their idea of what success looks like, or, you know, their idea of like, oh, you should do this, you should be here, do whatever.
Yeah.
Are there, I know that sometimes it's just a goal to be doing what you're passionate about, doing what you're called to do, and surviving in that way, and then letting the universe kind of, you know, unfold before you. That's very different from like charting out goals and being like, oh, this is what I have to do to like get to, you know, whatever in this place or that place, you know.
Yeah.
Is that how do you approach that aspect of this?
I mean, I feel like I don't just like fly by the seat of my pants. I have goals in my mind, but you know, not so far-fetched that I'm blinded by what's happening right now. I feel like my main goal is to stay appreciative of what's happening right now, and you know, I love the process of everything. I'm not looking for a jump from point A to point Z, because that kind of messes with the entire point. Sorry, what was your question again?
Yeah, well, right, you're enjoying the journey and the path that you're on.
Yeah.
And you've got goals and intentions that you're laying out for yourself, but you're not necessarily, you know, weighed down by
you know, what other
the
people's
status quo,
expectations
right?
are.
Yeah, other people's expectations, and
Yeah.
because I mean, somebody would say, "Hey Tay, you know, if only you'd go on The Voice or American Idol, you'd be famous tomorrow, and then all your dreams would come true." You know,
Yeah.
and you're like, "I'm living my dream right now."
Yeah.
What's wrong with
People
you?
don't
You know?
understand that, so I usually just don't even say, but I'm living my dream. I love the process. You know, people that goes right over most people's heads, and they'll be like, no, but you could really do something with American Idol or The Voice. And I'm like, but it's already like such a game and such a process to just accept what you want to do, what your own self wants to do, and what you want to do and with your time and where you want to put that. Why should I, you know, maybe this sounds a little rigid, but why should I ask for other people's approval on if I should keep doing this? Or if I'm worthy of making music for any amount of crowd or any amount of platform. You know, that doesn't really interest me. It's already hard to keep in your brain of, you know, ask yourself, who am I? Like, that's a pretty hard question to ask. And if anybody can answer that, good for them, you know. But I feel like it's already hard enough to ask yourself that question. And so to have other people's opinions mixed in there is just too much. It's too much for any, you know, sensitive artist to handle, and for any human to handle. Yeah, so I'm a strong advocate for taking other people's opinions and direction with a grain of salt, because we're not meant to be copy pasted. You know, it'd be sad if that happened.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome opportunity coming up in Portage County with the Levitt Summertime Concert Series, right? At the Riverside Park.
Yeah.
That's going to be a full band gig.
Yep.
You're going to be part of Mile of Music again this year.
This is true.
Yeah, that's very cool. You're from the Fox Valley greater area.
Yeah, around there.
So it's what a cool festival and event to happen to, you know, bring that community together, and so many different artists throughout that time. Talk about the Steel Bridge Songwriting Festival.
Yeah.
An opportunity to gather with other artists and maybe do some co-writing. Was that a foreign concept to you, or a foreign opportunity before that happened?
It really was. I feel like I hadn't co-wrote to that extent before, and that entire festival is kind of based around like, all right, step one, leave your ego at the door, you know, and then we get together and we spin a bottle and we are picked, like 3 of us are picked, and we write, and that happens several times during the week. So I feel like your brain is quickly trained to kind of rapid fire, but not in a cheap way. It gets you to be better with how to use your time in a week span, because not only are we writing the songs, but we're recording and performing them. And it taught me a lot about perfectionism, to be honest, and to kind of get over that that obstacle in your brain, like, oh, it has to be perfect. I'm not, you know, prepared all the way or anything. And you don't get a million takes of vocals in the studio. You don't get a million hours to work to write this song. You got to get it done in a day, like, or a couple hours. And it also was a great lesson to figure out how to work with different people. And everybody is so different there, from different places, different walks of life. And yeah, I hadn't been really accustomed to that before I came there, and now I feel like that was a huge part in my development as an artist. And so I know that they haven't been doing festivals recently, but who knows. maybe it'll come back. Maybe someone else will make it happen, or, you know. I'm actually playing up where that festival is taking place at that motel. I'm playing at the Tambourine Lounge on May 2nd. So if anybody in the stream is out there, come check it out.
Dole County, here we
yeah,
come.
Yeah, it'll be fun times.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a thing? Like, is there somebody in your mind you would love the opportunity to do like a co-write with, or get creative? You know?
Yeah.
Like, is there
there's so
a short
many
list of people, or?
There's a long list of people.
And are they like people that you know and you just need time to schedule to get together, or are they kind of like, oh, they live over in London or something, you know?
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly people that I've met along the way that I would consider friends now that I would love to write with, or like people that I've co-billed with that I would love to write with. It's just a matter of, you know, travel and making time, and there's so many people that I would like to write with. I feel like I've been a little bit out of the game, and I gotta shake some rust off to to start co-writing again, because it's been a while, but it's something that I definitely want to start doing again more. So
I guess in that approach too, you find like a co-write has to consider you know, all the people involved, maybe just two, but different place of creation from, you know, when you're alone writing from personal experience. Are you focusing more on ideas or a fictional story, you know, or is it sometimes, oh, I've had this thing, and, you know, and then you both, or the group of you, work together to, you know, kind of express that fully?
In my experience, I've written fictional stuff, but I have a hard time playing that stuff out. Just like feels so fake to me, and that's not a, you know, a kick to anybody that does that. It's just I can't attach myself emotionally to those fictional type things. There's already so much to do that's like real in my own life and in other people's lives that I'm more focused on that. I have done co-writes though, like in the Steel Bridge spectrum of things, where it's gotten funny and we're writing goofy stuff, or, you know, I've even rapped about PB&J sandwiches, and you know, we go all over the place there. It gets kind of rowdy.
Yeah. No limit.
Yeah, I feel like a majority of the things that I prefer to do is having that real, like, truthful, vulnerable dialogue with another person. It's like more than the songwriting that I love is the actual talking part and the exchange of that, and then figuring out how to put what we just talked about into words via song. Yeah, that's my preferred approach. Also, just when I write by myself, I tend to really only write reflective type stuff for the most part.
Right on. Softball here. First concert that you ever went to?
Oh, man.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know it was that.
I'm pretty sure that it was Jody Messina.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows who that is.
Sure.
But
she sang some songs.
Yeah. She recently came
touring,
back
right?
to play in Green Bay, and I missed it, but it's fine. Yeah, I think it was either Jody Messina or possibly the Cheetah Girls. Don't tell anybody I said that.
They all know now. They all know. And who, you know, who are you? What's the last artist that you listened to? Like, you're driving around in the car, like coming up to Rhinelander. You're going down to Schofield tonight. Like, what's on your radio?
Well, the literal, actual probably artist that I last listened to was Caleb Howley. But we've been listening to a lot of like John Moreland, very wordy, thoughtful music. Recently went to see him at the Collectiva Back Room in Milwaukee, and I'm just like trying to sometimes decode how he writes such profound things. It's very inspiring to me. Who else have I been listening to? Man, I'm constantly on the search for new music. I'm a avid vinyl collector and music listener. I feel like I am a Spotify user, and and I am definitely a clicker. Like, I'll go into related artists and go under there and go to their related artists and do a deep dive, and then I'll find some random artist that I'd never heard of and go to a playlist that they curated and just go way into the rabbit hole of music. So I feel like my playlist is kind of all over the place.
That's way cool. There was some like somebody on one of the things elsewhere was talking about like, oh, they don't listen to anything else because they're just like tunnel vision on their project or what's going on, and they're a metric for what they think is good, influences like their song production or their arrangement, and I can feel that like when you're heavily involved in a recording process, you might you're just listening to what you did that day. You're trying to make your performance better, or figure out how to change the arrangement or whatever, and sometimes so you get into that whole trap of not really hearing anything else, but yeah, I mean that's not that's not for everybody, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'll go into modes of, I definitely have playlists of like, titled this tone, like this piano tone, like this is my inspiration, recording inspiration, and different ways of producing things. I don't know, I listen to music in a few different ways, whether it be to like, think of how I can record things myself and be inspired by that and listen in that way as like a more business person, I don't know what to call it, or just, separately from that as a music appreciator and consumer and emotional human being.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of compartmentalized for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool. So briefly, getting back to this record with your band here, you're putting together, have all the songs been recorded and you're just staging the releases?
Yeah, pretty much. As they go? I have harmonies to do on a couple more, and yeah, they're basically off to the races. We have a couple mixed already, and we have been working on mixing the rest and then send it out to the masters and then out to the world.
Cool. And
we'll eventually take all those singles and put them on some, physical copies of things.
Righteous.
CDs, bring it back, some vinyl.
Do you do photos for artwork on the albums? Were you looking for more like maybe an abstract piece? Sometimes it's like it's a recommendation or almost whatever that you got to have your face on the album so people know who you are, that type of thing. Will that be happening with the release with the Neighborly, kind of like the collective for like an album cover, or is that something that's still kind of to be decided?
I'm constantly thinking about it. I feel like in the past, stuff that I've put out is very literally black and white. like very not vibrant, and I feel like with this we've been together for a while now, but with our new releases, I want it to feel celebratory, and so I want it to be bright and colorful, maybe even funny. Like, I feel like I'm going in a funny direction. I just want it, I don't know if this will be understood, but I just want it to look stupid. like thought about, but stupid. So we're still thinking about it.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know that it will be our faces. It might be a piece of art that I make, or, you know, if I see something and it's inspiring, might be that. We'll see. You'll have to see.
Well, it'll be later this year. Though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much for sitting down with me this afternoon here in the
Yeah,
living
thank
room.
you.
It's been a real treat to chat with you and hear some songs. Are you okay with doing one more before I kick you out out of here and you get on the road to? That's right, Sconi's Ale House and Eatery down in Schofield tonight with the full band minus Daniel.
Yes, come on by. This is our first time at Sconi's.
8:30 p.m. Yeah, they've got a heck of a joint down there, and I hope you have a really great crowd.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing your art and your music and yourself with all of us.
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for sharing your platform. So I'm going to do one that I botched a little bit last night at the show, and I hope that my fingers are feeling up to it today. This is new. This is called Cheap Seat. I'm sorry I let up on all that I promised, and me you held your trust. Now you caught me running from all of the favors that I never gave. Never meant to take your time just wasted. I see the mess I made. You can call me wicked if that suits your fancy, then I'll take the blame. I tried to be all you asked until I misunderstood it. Then all I saw was a mask, and I couldn't shake what I'd see. I had to leave. I was running from the enemy inside of me. I couldn't keep having you hang on, sitting in a cheap seat.
Awesome. Let's Tay, live from the living room here, a special session of the Midwest Music Hour. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to support her. This is Tay, right, on Facebook?
Yes, this is Tay Music.
This is Tay Music. There should be a link in the description below. So head over there and check out the merch. She's got some great stuff going on. You're going to get the vinyl and the CDs reprinted, but stuff's always available for streaming. Like you say, put it on while you're sleeping and rack
Yeah.
up the
Yeah,
rack
you
up
don't
the
even have
points
to
there.
have the volume on.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's Sconi's Ale House live tonight at 8:30 down there in Schofield by Wausau. Her and Tay and the Neighborly playing live tonight. So, thanks again for being here. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll catch you on the next session. It's this coming Sunday, I believe at 1 p.m. Ethan Bott from Marquette, Michigan is here doing his North Country, and we're looking forward to that. So thanks again for joining us, and you all be well. Take care. Appreciate it much. Roll that footage, right? Get it on.